Welcome to the Startup Grind.
Okay, I think this was the most energetic intro at Startup Grind ever.
To actually know yourself better, what gives you energy, what takes you energy, even if you do some hobbies or you don't have work yet. Doing some personality tests like Gallup Strength Finder or MBTI. I think it's very good to actually do this and know yourself. Later on, you can do this with your team to actually know each other. Why is this colleague like behaving like he is, and there is often like some psychology behind it. You can always get quick money and be rich soon and then retire. I guess that's quite a common goal in the startup scene also, right? Help make the world a better place and then become rich quickly. So I guess I quite already early at university knew that even if I make quick money, there could be like two scenarios afterwards. I could then lose the focus, like actually lose the motivation. So I'm 35, I sold my company to Facebook, and I'm a billionaire, so what shall I do now? And if you listen to stories to people like that, they oftentimes are frustrated because they have no meaning in their life. And as you already develop in the 10 years in your career, kind of habit that you wake up, you work hard, then it's very hard, I guess, to actually fulfill your childhood dream to buy, I don't know, camper van and travel around the world. You actually like feel you're missing something, and it's just a habit you taught yourself by doing hard work in a startup, I guess. And the second scenario might be that you are hunted by the bad things you've done by making the quick money, right? So I knew I actually think it's good not to be trapped in the kind of technological evolution mindset, which is like make your status in the work become like high position and make a lot of money. I guess that was something we grew up, our parents grew up, and I guess like the modern psychology is actually looking more on it, that it's good to find the purpose and the meaning in the work. And also that if you are 60 now, 70, it's something like 40 a few years ago, thanks to the health care and all the development in this area. I guess it's good actually to find a job which can make you happy, and it's kind of maybe phrase, but I don't feel myself that I would like to like make quick money. Of course, I would like to pay my mortgage, but I still feel if I win some lottery, as you know these stories of people who win lottery, they usually just spend it and they frustrated. Yeah, it's good to be like chief enthusiasm officer, I guess that's the major role in many successful companies, that you can see the drive and the changes in the world are based on the people who go against the logic, right? Against the stereotypes. So even if you are in some company which is very strict and against startup culture, you can definitely at least try to make it there, I guess. Do you know the What If agency or the book, What If? No, so yeah, perfect. Yeah, so it's London-based, and now they have offices around the world, and it's one of the world's best innovation agency. And one of their main principle how to like kind of innovate, and I think it's very good for startups if you are thinking like, what should I do? I want to do a startup. What should it be? Or if you already have an idea and you just want to fine tune it. So I use this for a long time already, and it's just like called 4R. So you have the idea, and first of all, you try to re-express it. So for example, imagine you want to explain the idea to your grandma. How would you do it? Right? Mainly in startup community, you can see like a lot of phrases and buzzwords being used. So just try to tell it to your kid maybe also, or to your parents, and then try to explain it to alien who does not know anything about the world, like how we live, why we make money, why we need clothes and stuff like that. So go really beyond the basic expectations, what we know. And you can also play theater or just like do some pantomime or whatever. So this might help you then to actually have a different point of view on your idea. The other one is about like the idea here is like you are starting when you are a young kid in a small stream. And then as you are learning, it's becoming bigger and bigger river. And as more you are stayed, for example, in one discipline or in one field, the river becomes really thick and really big, like Dunai or Amazon River. But if you are changing the jobs a lot, like every 2 years you have completely different, then you are like making a little more streams. So both of these is okay, but sometimes it's good to mix the people. And it's quite hard to come with a solution if you are still thinking in the same area where you created a problem, right? So, for example, if Xerox, who they were working for, had an issue with in 90s with their printing machines that the paper got stuck quite often, right? So they were thinking how to make this, how to fix this, and they were like looking in the world outside of printing devices. What else gets stuck in your life? You know, what else gets stuck? What?
Sorry, I don't know.
Yeah, like toilet, for example. Yeah, you know.
Life itself.
Yeah, exactly. Life itself can get stuck.
Carrier.
Yeah, exactly. Or for example, nose. When you have flu, your nose is stuck. So what happens with your nose? Usually you can breathe with one of the holes, right? So one is stuck, then the other one you can breathe. Well, how can you take this to the printing machine? So then they first in the world became like with two printing paper like inserts, you know? And that was kind of the idea, like just look completely outside of your discipline and maybe you can take something to your own idea. And the third revolution is you just use completely crazy what-if phrases, like what if people can fly? How would your startup application project would look like and if people can fly? Or what if you get $1 billion? What would you do? How would you like make the project different or the same? Or what if you have zero budget? How would you do it? Is it possible actually to execute your project and your startup idea if you have zero budget? And there are like tons of what-if questions you can come up, and it can completely like switch your view. So, and the last one, random links. You just open your book or your favorite magazine, pick a word, and you try to find some connection with the word and your project. So this can also maybe open your mind, and you can come up with something different. So it's always very different, you know, when you have these brainstormings. People tend to sometimes criticize and we've been there and done that, you know, we are different, we as company are better, we have tried this 2 years ago, I guess. Mainly as the world is changing so quickly, something which didn't work at all 2 years ago could be a really cool idea nowadays. And I guess it's good to not criticize at all at the beginning, early stages, and then when you go through all of this and other brainstorming techniques, you can go to the filtering and harvesting and actually look at all the papers you have around the table and then start to actually incorporating your other analytical part of brain, but just don't use it in the early stages. I guess it's quite hard for some people as things are changing so quickly, you know, mainly in digital sphere, like you just found some amazing social media site and it just dies before it can go public, right? And oftentimes technology is changing so quickly that people cannot like customize to that, right? There are so many applications going on just your smartphone you would love to use, but you just don't have the chance to try them. So, and then it's even harder for companies and startups to actually jump on this track. Yeah.
Do you think some of the things that you do at Red Bull are, you know, applicable to startups as well? Or is it very specific, like a corporate strategy already?
Well, yeah, I think it doesn't matter much if you are in a corporate business or if you are a startup entrepreneur. I guess it's just about the people. Again, maybe another phrase, but I can clearly see it maybe in some countries where you don't see the personalities are quite fitting for the company culture. They have struggled with their results and KPIs, and vice versa. You can have really poor country with bad economy, bad situation, but they still achieve and overachieve their goals. So I guess you can just see it by the people that they are kind of enthusiastic.
What do you see as some trends, you know, in marketing for the future and how technology is impacting your work?
Right. It might seem like an obvious question, but I think it's a really good and hard question because, of course, you can always find stories and articles about trends and upcoming visions, but I kind of don't want to do that. It's like you never know, you know. If you always look backwards and look at the movies, people usually are not completely right. So it depends on the kind of business. Like if you are FMCG, of course, you don't need to look so much in the future than if you are a technology company, right? But in general, I guess more and more important is just, which is good for a startup, how we take care about people, the planet, and people become more and more aware of the impact they have on the planet and other people. So it's not just like the making money philosophy, like I hope at least anymore in the future. That's what I do recommend always, like if you have a startup, just go public as early as you can. Like when people are afraid, like, yeah, but somebody will steal my idea in China, make it cheaper. But I guess like this will happen anyway. Whenever you come to the market, this will happen, you know. And if you are not passionate enough and about the idea, they will beat you anyway later on.
Yeah, you have to be good enough to be able to protect it and stay ahead of the competition.
Yeah, so just go early as possible out and get all the feedback you can, and just keep like in the cycle, you know, like test it and implement all the feedback. I think it's good actually to be early on open to criticism, and then also getting people on board.
So can you share how did this work at Odivi? How did you build up the brand? Where did you start?
Yeah, so we were just like starting with the easy things, like creating some photo shootings, videos, preparing the website, and all these obvious stuff. And then very early on, it was about creating a team, because I guess that's very important. If you want to grow, you need a team to do it. So you don't just work till the night, you know, and you just became frustrated maybe from the project, or you have like psychological issues. You don't have balance your, you know, free time, your hobbies, and your family or whatever. So I guess you can, of course, though, go on a maximum, on a full throttle into your idea and don't care about the rest of the life. And there are many examples of people who are successful this way. And I guess this is actually maybe mainly, especially in art. If you look at all the famous painters and musicians, I don't know any one of them who would be without psychological problems, you know? Like, no, seriously, like if you look way in the history, like all the painters, all the musicians, it seemed to me, at least, when I read their stories, they have really big issues from childhood. And, but this is the way, actually, that you have something which is like eating you inside, wherever it comes from, and you're just like throwing it out in your masterpiece, right? So, but in business, I think it's good actually to have it more balanced, and also take care of your family, of your friends, and of your free time. So, and I guess you can do it only by getting more people who are on the same level of thinking with you, or maybe who are the complete opposite, so they can be like a reflection and mirror to you. But just start with freelancers, go to universities which are similar to your field, and just like ask them that they want actually some practice. That's the practice I'm talking about when I'm like looking for people. If somebody was working for free on some project, that's exactly amazing, you know.
True, and usually those people are the ones that they have the drive, that they are willing to do something and work. Yeah.
Try to make it as brief as possible, which is a general good tip, I think, for everybody writing to any company, because a lot of the emails are very long. Like, you know, people are so passionate about it. They know so many details about it. That they just like want to sell it so hard and don't miss anything which is good and which might catch your attention. But what happens, you know, you have 200-300 emails daily, so you just like usually skip it.
Yeah.
You don't read it though. Maybe you read first paragraph. If the first sentence doesn't catch you, you usually don't go through it. So I think it's good just be really short and put some link or video next to it. Or even better, don't write emails at all. Just come to the office of the company, do some theater or whatever, you know, some funny thing, bring a pizza or do some whatever crazy thing which would make you stand out from the crowd, you know, because companies receive so many emails from people.
Something to match your culture more.
Yeah, and even if and I guess it's not about Red Bull culture. I guess like any company, even if you are the most strict company, you'd actually appreciate it, right? If somebody comes to your office and
tries really hard.
Yeah, so we all are people in the end, and however the philosophies of our companies are, we still have some values, you know, and it's good to touch you emotionally as a person and also as an employee. So I guess email is not the ideal emotional thing.
That's true. That's true.
Every evening you finish your work, you just like see the checked to-dos and you are happy. And I think it's really good for many people just to like be satisfied and celebrate these small moments, because it's very easy to get into the phase that you just like are succeeding in so many things, but you are still like working and working, because you, as an innovator, which most of you here are definitely, you see so many different things you could do next, so many ideas. So you just like finish something, you sell something to whoever for huge money, but you are already working on something else. So I guess that's quite dangerous. And it's good to celebrate these small moments that you are healthy and you could have a nice chat with somebody, and you could watch some nice movie, or you just made a nice phone call. You know, there are some people, for example, in sales, it's very hard. I think mainly in sales department to not fall in the routine. So I heard a story that there is one guy who has like two jars, two glasses, and they're like full of some pins or something. And every time he makes a sales hard phone call, he puts a pin to the bin. So at the end, like it doesn't matter if the phone call is good or not, you just made it, you know, and you made 20 phone calls in the day, so you can be happy about it.
The goal is to make the jar full.
If you make 200 calls in a day, which is achievable, one could be successful, right? And it could be a big company. And
it could make your day, right?
So I guess it's good to have small goals in front of you and celebrate them, but definitely always have like a bigger plan, which is almost unachievable. So you actually keep the drive, not only for yourself, because when you believe the idea, you are always happy to work, but it's mainly important for the team, I guess. So the employees need to not only like see the vision clearly and see the mission of the company, which is very important. Like oftentimes if you ask employees like, what is the mission of your company, they don't know sometimes, you know, and I guess you also need the employees to co-create the mission. So they need to be not only part of it as execution, but they should also influence it so they can actually work for it and feel it makes some sense.
Okay, I see there is more and more questions coming in, but we are already over 20 minutes, so I would finish it here. Maybe if you have, just to sum it up, some, you know, the most important tips from marketing that you see for...
Yeah, actually, I don't know what will be it, but yeah, this is in Czech because I don't know it will be in English. This either, yeah, but I can translate it. These are like two quotes I like recently, so... lack of time is only lack of priorities. So I think this is very important. Like everybody now tells, like, I don't have time. How are you? You know, I'm so busy. What I tell all the time recently is like, you know, it's so amazing. I'm doing so great. There are just like one big issue. There are so many great things I cannot choose from, you know, which to focus on. So, but I guess it's only about your priorities. So even if you are working as the lowest person in your company, or if you are CEO of the world, you always have the same amount of time. So it's just about the priorities, what you focus on, applying the Pareto 80-20 law and all these tips, you know, from Tim Ferriss and other guys who give you tips how to work hard. You know, I guess it's good to realize it's really necessity to work hard. I guess it's not important to have a huge, big idea. You can have a very small idea, but put a huge amount of work and enthusiasm behind it. But of course, then you can apply some tweaks from the 4-hour work week into it. And the other one is the only thing which is blocking you from achieving what you want is the story you keep telling yourself. Why are you not there yet? You know, and I think it's very true for.
So it's more about the mindset.
Yeah, it's true for a lot of young people, including myself. You know, we all have visions how we can change the world and be rich and be successful and be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. That's the only constant. But we just all see different ways how to get there. You know, so I guess it's really good to be true to yourself. And I feel more and more it's the most important thing in business, in life, just to know yourself very well. Just like use any methods you can use, very spiritual, esoterical ones, or very practical, analytical one, which suits you better, but just like know yourselves. Don't fight with it. If you had some problems with childhood, that your parents were bad to you, or they were spoiling you, they were too good to you, if your wife or husband is frustrating you, or they're spoiling you, if you have some issues, you live in a poor country, you live in too rich country with too many competition, you always can have some obstacles, and I guess just look into yourself, why you behave, how you behave, why you have goals which you have, and just like, okay, get along with it and find some team members which can be a good balance to your strengths and to your weaknesses, and yeah.
Okay, great. So I think we will stay here for a little bit more. So you guys, if you had some questions, you can talk to Milan. And thanks a lot. Please, a big round of applause.
Thank you too. Thank you.